Hey everyone! Well, what was that? Welcome to the Bible Belt Bros podcast.
It's all right. Puberty hits us differently.
Yeah, Andrew, I do have something to show you before we get started. So you saw the puzzle that came in.
Yes.
And so my sister-in-law was in town this week, and she's the project girl. She helps us, push us to do the projects that we put off for over a year, such as
until she comes.
New numbers on our mailbox.
Oh,
she
nice.
Helped push us to complete that project. Changed out a screen door, and then we've upgraded our bird camera. So take a look at this. Now we got like a background here. We got a little suet hanging thing where like a woodpecker can get
He
on
calls
there.
it a suet. I call it a birdhouse.
Well, it's not a house. There's food. There's no inside. It's the food sitting underneath it. It's right there. It's like open.
Well, I see four walls and a roof.
And it looks like a house. But then we have branches so these smaller birds can feel a little more
Right.
safe, and you can kind of watch them sit on the branches. So kind of did a little extra movement. We actually set up a new pole out there for the camera, so now the feeder's moving, but the camera's
stationary.
Because if it was for a while, the birds would jump on it, it would kind of sway, and the camera would kind of sway. So making some upgraded changes to the way we live stream our bird feeder. So thought you
Are we being sponsored by your bird channel?
Sponsored by Backyard Birding on YouTube. Just search Backyard Birding and it'll be the channel with a cardinal and a bird bath. That's how you know you got the right one.
Okay.
Welcome to Backyard Birding, live from Oklahoma. We stream live every day from 7 a.m. Central to about 6 p.m. whenever the sun goes down.
You guys didn't know you're turning into a bird podcast, did you?
You know, it's so funny. Like, I always joke, because I know quite a bit. I've been around, like, the YouTube stuff and the Google stuff and, like, in that environment for years now. And it's just, like, the only monetized channel I've ever been able to accomplish has been
The
bird watching channel. Yeah, so it's very funny to me.
That is hilarious.
That this is what brings in, sometimes like up to a couple $100 a month, or sometimes, $50 a month, but it still helps barely buy back some of the bird feed that we put out there. Anyways, you had a topic today, Andrew. You wanted to talk a little bit about, I'll say this. I'll bring it up. All right.
Yes.
So I was listening to this podcast. It was called Ex-Youth Pastors. This doesn't exist anymore, but.
So it's ex-youth pastors.
It's ex-podcasters that are ex-youth pastors as well. So I think they just combined it with their main church podcast because they were kind of like, they're out of ex-youth pastor stories when they did it. All of that to say that they had this segment where you hear this a lot. It's like a lot of their preface, they would go like things that they did or they've seen youth pastors do, and it makes no sense. And one of them was like, they'll have a sermon about lust, right? Waiting till you're married to have sex. Like that's an every year sermon when you're a youth pastor. And for a lot of youth pastors, you'll see them and they'll be like, guys, if you wait for sex, it's worth it. Then you can have a smoking hot wife like I do. Honey, stand up, do a spin, like the Michael Scott thing.
Yeah.
It's like you're teaching about lust and how you shouldn't lust, but then you're like showing off your wife,
right?
When you got teenagers there that
and
have
you're
lust
essentially
issues.
telling them to lust over your wife, right?
Yeah, and so it's just kind of like we started talking about like addictions because. Like our church does like a porn and pizza thing that's coming up, or it has passed since this episode comes out because I didn't edit last week's. Anyway, so like we have events like that because that is an issue. It's a not talked about issue quite a bit. And even our government has kind of shut down a lot of things. I don't think you can get on much pornography websites right now. In Oklahoma, they shut it down. So that's a pretty cool thing that our state has done to kind of combat that a little bit. Just make it illegal.
That's right.
Like, let's fight human trafficking at the source of where they make money. So,
exactly.
But we wanted to talk about addictions and kind of sometimes like how addictions kind of become
your identity.
Your identity, yeah.
And then, so guys, this is going to be a hot take episode. Nothing we say, just take it with a grain of salt because one, Dusty and I have done little to zero research, the zero part being me, the little being Dusty. And so if whatever we say, put your own spin to it, don't take it as gospel, research your own, read the Bible on your own, interpret it your way.
Right. We're kind of just like brain farting kind of the concept out there a little bit and just more speaking without the filter for a couple reasons. One, like, no matter what we end up filtering it down, somebody's going to disagree with.
Absolutely.
Typically. And then at the same time, sometimes you don't want to censor yourself because that's really how you feel about something, or at least you think how you feel until sometimes you say it out loud. That's one thing I've learned in Celebrate Recovery is part of that, saying it out loud, that you can actually hear it. When you're internalizing thoughts that are negative or untrue, but when you internalize it, you start to believe it.
Absolutely.
But when you say it out loud, like that was one of the things about being around a group of like 10 to 20 people. I start saying stuff out loud that I'm thinking, and I'm like, that's baloney. Like that is terrible. Like I don't believe that at all. What am I doing? So we do that a lot on this podcast, and so
absolutely.
I hope that you enjoy it. But let's talk about addictions.
Yep. So one thing real quick. Yes, people will get mad no matter what we say. I could say God is good, and someone's going to get mad I didn't say God is great. So Dusty has done Celebrate Recovery, so that's kind of his research, and he knows all that side of it, so, and the addiction side. Me, I've never done anything like that, and so kind of jumping right into it. My hot take is I believe it's a crutch.
You believe addiction is a crutch, or do you believe...
I believe the label of using it as an addiction is a crutch. You labeling yourself as an alcoholic, or you labeling yourself as a drug addict, whatever it is, I feel those labels are a crutch, because to me, you are shrouding your responsibility, and we all died to Christ and were born anew. And so to me, you should shed those labels. You're shedding that addiction. So shed the labels as well. You are no longer an alcoholic. You were an alcoholic, but you no longer are. So to use it in the present tense is, to me, a crutch.
So you're saying, like, the Bible talks about you are a new creation. Yes. You have been born again. When we get baptized, we come out of the water anew, fresh, and then yet we still let these labels kind of dictate or control us. And Absolutely. We're still living in the bondage of sin without...
the actual bondage of sin.
Without being...
Right.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
So that's my hot take. And we make that our identity. And it's not just us. Pastors do it too, guys. The people preaching to you on the stage about this exact thing, they're doing the same thing that you're doing. So we all fall victim to it. And I'm going to say victim. We all fall to it. I told Dusty I was going to backtrack a little because I understand the chemical side, the science side, where the drugs, the alcohol, things like that, the disorders that doctors tell you have, those do change chemicals in your brain, and you do become dependent. To me, God made us from dust. He made us just from dirt. He also made our bodies where it will heal itself. If God can do that, and you're labeling yourself and you're using all this other stuff to try to normalize yourself, then you're essentially trying to take that power from God and telling God he can't fix you, that I need modern science to fix me. Now, this comes from a guy who barely takes medicine. The only medicine I really take is for headaches. So if I'm sick, dying, laying in my bed dying, I'm not taking medicine.
I got a strong immune system.
It's not even that. I have a strong God.
Okay. Well, you want to go that far? We know people that have left the faith because of people believing too much on no medicine, God only, and so that's the extreme anything typically drives people away.
Absolutely, because I'm not going to say that you don't need, like you have cancer, yes, chemo, radiation to kill that cancer.
Like we have a strong God, but he also gave us a brain sometimes.
Right.
So
yes, and he did give us medicine. He gave us science.
And he gave us people to help us. We're not supposed to be doing things alone.
I'm just stubborn and don't like to take medicine.
There we go. We got it. He's stubborn, guys.
And I don't like to take medicine. So if it's something minor, I'm just going to let God fix it.
Yeah, I'm the typical, like, I don't feel great. Shay's like, have you taken anything? I'm like, no. I've been struggling with a headache all day. Could have took Tylenol or had whatever I'm supposed to take. I don't even know what I'm supposed to take. But maybe that's my problem. I'm taking the wrong stuff. One of the things that came up to me when you brought up the topic was there's also a running joke, and that's how I like to start these serious things is with a joke,
With a joke, right.
there's a running joke, and it might have been through the ex-youth pastors or just in general. Definitely a church joke where you'll see a worship leader or pastor hold out their arms like in the cross formation, come to the Lord, you're one of us, to show off their tattoo that shows off that, see, I have a past too, guys. And I feel like that as people on stage or pastors, they sometimes maybe pre-label themselves these certain, like they label themselves based off of the act that they're doing, the alcoholism, the pornography addictions, the drug addict, or whatever, whatever they end up being their go-to to solve the issue that they're dealing with. But they're quick to kind of like to be able to relate to you, like, oh, I'm an alcoholic too, and they're like, well, you just like to party and drink,
right?
Like you weren't in a deep, like if you look at the definition of alcohol, your gray area trying to fit yourself situations to be there, or whatever,
right?
And so it's like there's people that try to put themselves in it maybe to relate with other people, and it's like kind of downplays, because I've gone to Celebrate Recovery where I'm like, I struggle with this, and people are like, wait, I have to like complain about struggling with that too, like I'm sitting, and that's where I was like, I like to go to the ones with the I don't know how to say this, people with real problems,
right?
where I've gone to Celebrate Recovery group meetings where everybody in church is like, yeah, I get mad sometimes. I'm like, all right, you are not even being completely honest here. Like, what are we doing? Like, you're vaguely saying things that you're dealing with, but you're not being real. And then I go to the ones that are like, yeah, I'm here court ordered because I have a drug problem. I'm like, all right,
this is the one.
This is the one that I want, because one, it gives me perspective on this internalizing of what I was dealing with, and I'm like, this is like.
But Dusty, you realize that person is saying the same thing about you,
right? He's like, oh, this stupid guy,
this dude,
this guy.
He likes looking naked legs.
What the heck, man?
And I'm over here shooting up just to make it another day,
right? So one of the things I think we kind of agree with maybe is, I think we put the label, and when I've gone through Celebrate Recovery, we put the label of alcoholic or drug addict, we put that label on, and we think that's the problem. If we can just stop doing alcohol, if we can stop taking drugs, problem solved, right?
Yeah.
And with that, dismissing what leads people that way. The end act of what they do has nothing to do really with why they're doing it. Like, they're not doing drugs mainly because it's like an awesome thing and it betters their life. They're not drinking alcohol because it's an awesome thing and betters their life. They're not over drinking alcohol, but they are doing that because what Celebrate Recovery says is 5 core issues that people deal with, and then what either helps them with those issues, that's the act that they end up doing. But if you can trace a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I'm struggling to find any other icks, to put in there. But you can trace them all back to these same core issues. And so like that's what Celebrate Recovery is trying to do, is like let's get the core issue fixed. That then fixes everything else. And I think you can say, like, you hear a lot of people that are like, once I gave it to God, my addiction was gone. And I'm like, that's where I'm like, I get it. God can do anything, Andrew. But was it an addiction per se? Because that's a completely different thing. And then you start making people question their faith and their religion if God didn't take their addiction away immediately. Right. And maybe it's because your addiction wasn't. You just like to party. That's really what it came down to. You like the people and the social aspect that you were getting out of it. Partying was a way to do that. You weren't trying to. I think it's when you're drinking by yourself, for instance, and you know what I mean? Like you're just chugging them back. That's when you're like, okay, I have an alcoholic problem.
So, and I want to just touch that because I never talk about my testimony or me pre-Jesus, and Dusty knows me, and there's a few other of y'all that listen that know me pre-Jesus. Mine was never around people. I was always, well, if it was one other person, but typically I was doing it solo. Was I addicted? I wouldn't say. I don't think I was addicted, but it was, once I gave my life to Christ, it was, I gave it up and didn't touch the harder stuff since, and maybe the lighter stuff 5 times since. So, yeah. But you're right. Those pastors who do it just to relate, get up on stage showing their tattoos just to show the crowd. And to me, this is a salesman tactic. You want to, because as a salesman, and maybe preachers are salesmen because they're selling God, but as a salesman, you want to get on the same level as your client. I was talking to a client yesterday, and it's again, the salesman in me it happened. I was standing on a higher step, and so I stepped down to get on eye level with him. Mm-hmm. That way I didn't reflect authority, and you have a more real conversation. And that just happened. And when I stepped down, I was like, wow, I'm a salesman.
Yeah.
And so, but that's exactly what the pastor's doing, is they're trying to get on the same level as you and relate to you. But then they use these labels like alcoholic, when really they were a social drinker. They just wanted to be the life of the party or have a good time at the party, not necessarily an alcoholic.
Right. So I want to talk about the 5 main, I'm just going to go through the 5 core issues behind every addiction according to Celebrate Recovery. Yeah. So the first one is control. So a root of many addictions becomes like controlling your emotions, controlling situations, controlling other people, controlling their pain. That's a common core value. So if you can figure out how to let them get rid of control, and knowing that usually they start out with, I can manage this, and then they get to where I can't stop.
And what's funny is when you're using things, you don't have control. You're losing control. You're giving up control.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, addiction feels like you have control, because you can control whenever you want to do it and all that kind of stuff. But then all of a sudden you get to a point where you actually have lost control.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying. The second one is fear. So fear drives people to the same direction. So fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, like those things. That's probably where I've struggled a lot personally, is just fear of failure, fear of rejection, so if I don't try it, I can't fail, and I get into these moods where I need help being pushed because that kind of thing. And so that has been my coping mechanism, has been more of like, just masking that feeling of fear, failure. 3 is anger, just childhood wounds, betrayal, injustice, shame, those kind of things have you lashing out, trying different ways to medicate that anger, to zen out, if you will. Resentment, it's not fair, they owe me, I deserve better. Those are things as well that it causes you to, look at other things that just keeps you chained to those feelings, and you're trying to kind of like just mask it. And that's kind of like drugs in general. Like you're doing a drug to get past something, and then you just can't wait to do the drug to forget about it again. Right. Guilt and shame is a pretty deep layer for this, but usually if you've done something bad, that's you're guilty of that. You just walk around in that guilt. Shame is more of just feeling like you are a bad person. And so the shame sometimes can come with, when you, like, if you struggle with fear of failure and you start masking it with a substance, well, then now that brings the guilt and shame that just compounds on that. So you have to like fix both of those things now.
Absolutely.
And but those things, that just fuels more secrecy, it fuels more shame, and then it just continues to cycle,
right?
And it becomes a vicious cycle. So the idea with Celebrate Recovery, and why that's a very popular thing, it's a Christian 12-step program. It uses the 8 recovery principles, which are from the Beatitudes in the Bible, and then 12 Christ-centered steps, and accountability, confession, community, surrender, all of those things mattering when it comes to getting over, those addictions. But what their core belief is if we can get to the heart of an issue and what's causing you, is it the fear? Is it the shame? Is it the guilt? Like, what is it that's causing you to go that direction? Let's heal that part. And then all these things will, fall into place after that, which I know is not what we were talking about people trying to put themselves in a category to relate. Right. But I think it's important to know, but those are the things that, like, somebody, like a pastor who's like saying that they struggle, like, I was a drug addict, blah, 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 like that, they probably were. But if they weren't, they definitely struggled with one of these 5 things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like so that's the thing we need to try to help relate to.
According to Celebrate Recovery, we're all addicts of something.
Well, yeah, we all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups, is what they would call it, that lead us down an attitude path, lead us down a a substance path. Like there's always something. Like nobody has lived a perfect life, and nobody has been treated perfectly in their life. And it's the funny cycle that people can treat you great and speak life into you, but that one person says something negative, and that's all you hear,
Yeah, I could see.
Or imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. My brain kind of goes, I could relate to the people in Celebrate Recovery, like you were talking, oh, this person's here and they don't have a real issue. But the way Celebrate Recovery, it seems like it's trying to encompass everybody, which to me shouldn't be either. Like somebody who is a shopaholic shouldn't be going to a 12-step program or a Celebrate Recovery with somebody who has who shoots up just to stay warm at night and has an addiction like that. So in that aspect, I would actually disagree with Celebrate Recovery. I agree with the overall purpose of Celebrate Recovery.
Well, sure, you're going to have like maybe specialized things out there that are outliers, but I think for what they're trying to do, they're not trying to say like, hey, no matter what problem you have, you got a problem, I'll solve it. Like that's not what they're just saying like, hey, your problem is the core issue.
All right. But everybody has those same core issues. Like literally people shop for their identity.
That's their whole point.
Right.
And then you can get into a specialized, hey, shopaholics group or whatever, understanding like, hey, we all have an issue, and that might not even be the same core issue. There might be different core issues that lead them down this shopaholic process.
That's so weird, dude. So this is gonna turn into a Celebrate Recovery.
I know.
Podcast
we were trying to be more funny. But
that's so weird to me because like when I see Celebrate Recovery, it doesn't say shopaholics or alcoholics or manic depressants. It's just Celebrate Recovery. Come break your addictions with us type thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, if you go, it's a very cultish kind of feel.
That's what it sounds like.
You're chanting, you're saying, I think the out loud, you read the 12 steps all together or the Beatitudes all together. Like somebody will read a statement and then we all read back the answer to the statement. Like it's all just like mind training, because the whole point is when you hit that feeling of fear of failure, you can hit the Beatitude that cancels that out.
Correlates to it. Gotcha.
Like you have to, and it's memory, it's reading and meditating on scripture, because it's all scripture based. It's reading and meditating, like each point that they have has the scripture reference of that point.
Right.
So like that's what they're trying to do. It does feel very cultish when you just walk in and you're like, and if you don't know what to expect and you're like, okay, everybody's just reading and chanting, people are walking up and getting chips for 30 days of sobriety. Like, what is going on here? Like,
So two things. One, that's kind of how the American Legion was for me when I first started, because we have a preamble that we all say together at the beginning. But that's it. Everything else is done normal business meeting. The same reason that I feel Celebrate Recovery is strange is some of the same reason I don't like our house church model.
Oh,
because everybody has different issues, and I don't want to hear about.
I don't give a flying flip what Sally's going through right now.
Well, when I've done this to myself, I put myself in this position, and I refuse to change, but I'm still going through this. Please pray for me. I'm like, no, we've already prayed for you 20 times for this same thing, and you don't want to change your own lifestyle.
Wait, so you were offended by the Dusty special whenever I would have a prayer request?
The Dusty special. Yeah, it's the same thing over and over.
I pray for motivation. And
get me out of this. Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
Dusty.
so that ticked you off. Okay.
Yes, Dusty.
You hate.
That was actually just funny because we'd be like, all right, Dusty special. And then like other people, like I'd be like, all right, I need the Dusty special today, please. That was actually funny.
I need a number one with Dusty special.
Yeah. No, that was a funny thing.
But that was the same thing, because like legitly, like I was.
Yeah. Was I offended at that? No. But there are some that I just get really annoyed with. Somebody's going through a real hard time, and then somebody else like, yeah, I stubbed my toe. Will you please pray for me? I'm like, how are you going to follow up this person who just, lost everything with, I stubbed my toe?
Because everything matters, Andrew. Now, I will say I've joked in my house church that I have a 3-week rule. After that, I'm done praying for you. I've said that out loud just as a funny joke.
I need to implement
listen,
that.
you only got 3 weeks, so start it whenever you want, when you really need it.
It's funny because when somebody sneezes 3 times, I'll say bless you twice, and I'll be like, all right, you're out of blessings now.
Yeah, listen, you're taking all the blessings, save them for other people.
Yep. So I'm right there with you.
All right, let's circle back one last time just to the main point, because the main point was really that as pastors, as Christians trying to relate to other people, we try to fit ourselves in a category, and it's like it's a shameful thing to have been a goody-good your whole life and been protected, because then you don't relate to people that way. Like the testimony of saying like, I didn't struggle with this seems like you've heard people be like, I don't really have a testimony. And it's like, your testimony is that you've been in a great family. You've been surrounded by people and you've been able to see God's love through those people.
Right.
Like that's a great testimony. You don't have to have this trauma that leads you to this moment. Right. And that's, I think,
to me, the trauma kind of takes away from it because you always seem to harp on your trauma and you don't share enough about the good since.
Well, yeah, like you spend 10, 15 minutes talking about your addiction and 2 minutes saying, and God delivered me.
Exactly.
And then the end.
Yes. And to me, that's wrong. You need to talk about what God has done in your life since your addiction.
And I think that is an issue. Like we tend to
minimize God in my
not
opinion.
On purpose, but we tend to like probably inflate the sin that we were to make it sound more serious, more relevant, more deep, and then unintentionally we minimize the need of Christ or the value, the after.
And okay, so it's funny because I actually did the exact same thing in this podcast because I was like, I did mine solo, which inflates it. It makes it bigger.
Yeah,
it puts me in a different category.
You did. You tried to. Yeah.
And that was not my intention.
Man, I wasn't listening to you, so I'm glad you brought that.
That wasn't even my. You just said that. I go, oh, hey. That wasn't even my intention because, like I said, I don't talk about it because I've been delivered from that. So I talk about what God has done in my life since then. I hate going back and talking about that because that's not who I am. That's who I was.
Yeah, you want to be like, listen, I've been there, I've been similar, but let me tell you what's on the other side.
Right.
Like that's what you're saying. Like,
yes,
we have a 20-minute sermon about all the things that I've done and been in, and then the 5-minute ending for redemption story.
Yes.
And you're like, let's flip this switch a little bit.
Absolutely.
We are all and I think go back to Celebrate Recovery. We all have control issues. We all have fear. So none of that matters on how you reacted to it. You've all had these things.
Yes.
Which is why we need the Savior.
Yeah.
And you know what a Savior can do? He can take away this. He could take away that. He could do this, Like that's, I see that.
So that's why my hot take is it's a crutch. Your ism, your ict. It's a crutch. You use it as a crutch. We use it as a crutch.
And it's not intentional. It's
right.
It's like this thing that's built in, and it probably goes back to one of these core things.
Yes.
When it comes to fear of rejection, and so you've got to inflate your past that you've gone through to kind of match and say I connect with you.
Yeah, because you don't want your past being trumped by somebody else's past, and so you're
just trying to relate, but you have a fear. Your internal fear is the fear of rejection, so you have to somehow make yourself relate. Instead of just saying, luckily I was protected from that. Yeah. Like that's like, I dabbled in things. Luckily I didn't get addicted to it. Luckily I had people surrounded, but just to be like, I was a drug addict, like it's because you just like to do drugs.
Right.
Like that's a different, there's the addict part of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
it's funny. I was about to do it again.
Big circle.
It just made me. Well, we just said made me stop in my tracks and not say it. So
I need to figure out what that was. What core thing here makes you stop talking? Because I need to make sure that is.
So you can implement that. Is it like a button?
Is there a button? Yeah. And I can just push.
Andrew Beatitude.
I'll start wearing a T-shirt with the verse reference to whatever it is that shuts you up. Yeah. Well, I would like to know what your thoughts are, as far as when it comes to these, for me, it's more of like these core core issues that people face, like where do you kind of fit in there? Like, let's be a little real here. Like what causes you to maybe dabble in some of the things that you shouldn't? And then also at the same time, like,
that's a big ask, Dusty.
that is a big ask. Nobody's going to do it. So
right.
It's whatever. But, nobody's going to do it, but we all probably should and would be better off if we did.
And what's funny is, they wouldn't do it because all we have is social media. And so then you're putting yourself on blast.
Well, we're really, when we do the big ask thing, we're really just talking to the people that will see us in the hallway at church.
What I was thinking is maybe we start a Discord.
Oh, gosh.
Dusty.
Do we have enough people to have a Discord?
According to our metrics, yes.
Yeah, but how old are these people? No, I'm joking.
That it does not give us.
I say that as I'm 41.
I know. Oh, dang, I am too.
Happy birthday.
I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I've been making fun of y'all.
Welcome to the other side, Fisher. It's all right. Shay's 42, so she's still ahead of us.
Got you an old woman.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, telling us your hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And, have you seen the same thing where people tend to inflate some of their sin just to try to relate, where the core of this podcast episode was that people tend to try to put themselves as an alcoholic to relate to alcoholics, or they put themselves as a drug addict to relate to drug addicts, when it's okay not to. Like, you can just relate to the core issues that we all deal with all
Absolutely.
the time. So we'll see you guys on the next one as soon as I edit this.
Take it easy.